Donald Trump has dominated this election, Kamala Harris hasn't been able to offer any serious challenge, and it's clear from the current results. The map we're looking at shows how things are shaping up. The states marked in red indicate where Trump is either leading or has already secured a win. Kamala Harris is trailing significantly in several key states. Here's something interesting in the US. People were betting on who would win between Trump and Kamala Harris for quite a while, especially on platforms like Polymarket. For months, Americans were making bets on this, but finally, this morning we saw a shift in the results. Trump has made history in several ways. He is set to become the 47th president of the United States. He will be the first president since 1892 to serve 2 terms, but with a gap in between. Normally, if a president is popular enough for 2 terms, they serve them back to back. However, Trump is the first president this century to win one election, lose the next, and then win again. Trump has often said that if it weren't for the pandemic, he believes he would have won the 2020 election as well. That's his perspective on the situation. The whole world is closely watching what's happening in the US. Trump's vision, whether it's about tariffs, NATO, cutting taxes for businesses, or reducing government spending, has really resonated with the average American. Kamala Harris's message and persona were clearly rejected by US voters. I'd say her downfall is partly due to how her party, the Democrats, handled things. At first, they backed Biden as the presidential candidate, but his weak performance in the debates became obvious and they quickly pulled him back, putting Harris in the spotlight. Watching this unfold, it felt like a flawed strategy for the campaign. They should have made the decision earlier to replace Biden with another representative for the Democratic Party. One important thing to note is that after it was confirmed Joe Biden wouldn't run in 2024, he made an unexpected move. He visited a small town in the US, approached an army soldier, asked for his hat with Trump written on it, and then wore it publicly. At the time, it seemed like a joke, but it carried a strong message. Today, the Democratic Party still has many influential leaders. It's clear that several key figures within the party didn't support Kamala Harris, but backed Biden instead. There was even a statement made at one point calling all Trump supporters garbage, which, whether intentional or not, was a major mistake. Calling voters garbage or insulting them during an election can have serious consequences, often leading to a loss. Trump supporters rallied in large numbers. Especially after this incident, he handled the situation by boldly declaring, "Yes, I'll clean up the so-called garbage that Biden couldn't." Biden's comment ultimately gave Trump a significant advantage. On top of that, Trump survived an assassination attempt, narrowly escaping with his life, which earned him even more support from Americans. Finally, let's not overlook Trump's promises. He has vowed to dramatically cut or even eliminate income taxes for Americans. He questions why the government needs so much taxpayer money, especially when it's used for salaries, pensions, and funding various government projects. Among all this, one individual's vision stands out. Elon Musk. Consider this: buying Twitter and turning it into X almost a year ago was a bold move by using the platform to promote American right-wing views, back the Republican Party, and bring Trump back into the spotlight. Musk made it clear where he stood. He saw that Biden was losing support, the Democratic Party seemed weak, and people were frustrated with rising inflation and the ongoing war in Ukraine. Many Americans were upset about billions of dollars being sent to Ukraine, while the US itself needed major investments. The country's infrastructure was no longer what it used to be. Musk saw all of this and decided to take a risk by fully backing Trump. Trump's promises this term are important. He pledges not to start any new wars and aims to end ongoing conflicts. On the Israel-Palestine issue, Trump is expected to give Netanyahu more flexibility in handling it, with less emphasis on human rights concerns and a strong stance against Iran. His supporters in the US are celebrating, hopeful that the next 4 years will bring stability and growth. This historic comeback by Trump is seen as a potential turning point for both US and global politics. We'll have to wait and see how his presidency shapes the world and impacts America's future. Russia will likely be pleased, as Trump is expected to apply significant pressure. The territory Ukraine has already lost is unlikely to be regained. It's time to bring this war to an end and find a peaceful solution. Whatever remaining issues there are, it's time to resolve them. Trump's approach here could have a positive impact on Europe as well. American citizens are excited, with many anticipating potential tax relief. Similar to Europe, when a leader promises tax cuts, the middle class tends to support them. Trump has even suggested easing income taxes, along with other taxes, as people have been weighed down by high taxes. Unless another major disruption like a pandemic occurs, the stock market is expected to remain strong with this approach if Trump's current plan moves forward as expected. He may significantly cut corporate taxes for large companies, boosting their profits. Over the next 4 years, the American stock market could experience steady growth. Under Trump's presidency, there may be fewer American interventions abroad, but this could lead to more conflicts around the world. China, for instance, understands that no one will step in to protect Taiwan. Similarly, Russia knows that if it takes action against smaller countries like Estonia or Lithuania, the US won't get involved. Trump's priorities will focus on stabilizing the domestic economy and tax reform first. This shift will significantly affect traditional allies like Europe in the coming years. It wouldn't be surprising if Europe starts developing its own military forces, as the support it once received from the US under Trump's leadership may weaken.